For the last week in our daily devotions, we have been hearing from Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. But for those of us who are going through the Bible this year with Nikki and Pippa Gumble, the Hebrew Bible passage that begins today is from Ecclesiastes. And there are a number of verses in Ecclesiastes that I find very teachable and very significant that speak to me. So we're going to step out of 1 Corinthians for the next 4 days to hear from these ancient words of wisdom from Qoheleth or Solomon, and then we'll go back to 1 Corinthians at the end of the week. In the first 3 chapters of Ecclesiastes, perhaps the best known passage is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. It begins in verse 1, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." Yesterday, we had a celebration of life service here at Brewster Baptist Church for Jerry Moore. Jerry was a member of our church, a Cape Codder native, and had lived and served in the town of Chatham for many years in a host of ways, including being an EMT and a firefighter. And this passage from Ecclesiastes 3, which inspired a song by a group called the Byrds, "Turn, Turn, Turn," about 50 years ago or so, was how we began the service. It was a favorite of Jerry's. And in Ecclesiastes 3, 1 to 8, and the words that are expressed in that song, we hear that there is a time to be born and a time to die. There's a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, and a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. And so it goes on. And part of the wisdom of Ecclesiastes 3, 1 to 8 that I think can be very helpful for us if we really take some time with it is to understand there are different seasons in life. And those seasons bring us different things, physically, emotionally, relationally, and they also demand different things from us, relationally, spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally. And part of the practice of discernment that we need to always be engaged in is just, what season am I in? And what is God calling me to do in this particular season? What does God want to draw forth from me? What does God need from me? What is God demanding from me? What is God trying to teach me in this particular season? And as I said, that takes discernment and spiritual attentiveness and listening. For example, if it's a time to weep and you're like, why is this happening to me? Why am I sad? I want to get out of this. Well, there just are times in life to weep, like when we lose a loved one or a member of our family. There are times when it's time to laugh and to find the joy in our life, even when sometimes that may be hard to find. So I encourage you to look at Ecclesiastes 3, 1 to 8. Take a little time today to pray and listen to God and seek to discern, what season is it for me right now? And what is God trying to teach me in the midst of it?